course coverage reports, CC.
There
There you go. I knew it was going to be some kind of music. Let me show you kind of like where this is housed, just in case you are looking for it. Plus, we're going to be referencing some assessment day materials, obviously. So there's a module devoted to that as well. If you're in the organizations area of Blackboard, instead of courses, we'll be going to faculty resources. This presentation is in our professional development module right here. But also right below that module, there are tons of resources that I'll be referencing from assessment day that are housed right here as well. So just know that. If you scroll down to the optional PDs for 25-26, it's right here at the top. You have the presentation embedded for you. We'll place the recording here below in case people weren't able to attend live with us. And then we have a survey embedded down at the bottom here as well. So course coverage reports, the first deliverable to assessment day. Let's get into it, but please ask in the chat if you have any questions. Shout out on the mics. Nick is joining us virtually as well, so please let us know if you have any questions along the way.
We are here to serve.
Absolutely. So we're going to simplify this process as much as possible with some definitions and breakdowns and simplifying it with a what, where, when, why, how type scenario here. So let's get into some definitions. And for some of us in attendance today, this seems pretty old hat, but for those who might be newer, we have a lot of acronyms. We have a lot of jargon that we use when it comes to assessment. So this is just to simplify it and give some definitions. So we need to start out with our learning outcomes, right? And for Blackhawk, there are 3 levels of learning outcomes for our students. We have course competencies, the skills or abilities at a course level that are measurable and observable and say what the student should know upon completion of that course. We then go to a program outcome, which are those learning outcomes that students should obtain throughout the entire program upon graduation. We also give them the acronym of PO very often, right? And CC for course competency. And then finally, we have our institution-wide or the institutional level outcomes, and those are called college-wide core abilities here. All 16 WTCS colleges have these. They name them a little bit differently, but they are college-wide skills, almost like soft skills, perhaps you could say as well. Durable skills, they translate to every field, every profession, and we hope and aspire that every single student who graduates or attends here at Blackhawk gains those skills, is able to effectively communicate, use relevant technology, work with diverse groups of people, etc. And then finally, we're going to be talking about Blackboard goal tags because that's what a course coverage report shows. So we here in CETL are the ones that take any set of these outcomes, your course competencies, program outcomes, and college-wide core abilities. We place them within Blackboard and they become called goal tags through the Blackboard system. So this is when we enter those in there and it allows you and gives you the ability to call what we say a tagged assessment. And by tagging an assessment, what you're really doing is showing alignment, that this particular assessment directly measures whether or not that student obtained that skill, whether they demonstrated it, whether they knew it, and whether they performed it to the best of their ability and now have that skill. So hopefully that helps break that down with those definitions. In continuation, what a course coverage report really is then, is that after we go through and we tag all of our assessments, which we'll talk about when and where and how to do that, this report is run so that we can see every single tag listed out, right? We want those tags in place. We want to be able to retrieve data from them at the end of a semester so that we can make these bigger picture program level and institution-wide level kind of pictures of data, snapshots of data that tell us whether or not our students performed well on those tags or not. So really, in its most simplest, phrasing, a course coverage report is just a map at the course level of all the tags within a given specific course. Any questions about the simple breakdown of a course coverage report so far? I see something in the chat maybe, or are we good?
They're looking right now. Oh, there was a smiley face.
Okay, just making sure.
Okay.
So what is our process for running a course coverage report? How do we run a course coverage report? I do have a little quick video tutorial, and this is in the assessment day module. I also have what you'll see next is like a step-by-step process of how to run that course coverage report. So often if faculty find that they don't have tags, by the way, right? You're running these course coverage reports. You're newer, perhaps. There are some faculty who have come in and realized that their assessment day practices they were handed and that they inherited weren't so great. Well, we recommend really thinking about a program level assessment map and just kind of mapping out those tags, which we're going to talk about in part 2 next Friday, a week from today. So if you find that your tags are not there, right, or that you're missing some with coverage, please let me know and I'd be willing to help you kind of think through that process with mapping it out. But to run a course coverage report, we go into the analytics tab and we click on course goal coverage report. Unfortunately, if you have more than one level of tags within a course, you will have to run that report separately for each and every goal set that you have. So if this course has course competencies, program outcomes, and college-wide core abilities, that report will have to be run 3 different times. We are looking into how we can save you time with clicks and running reports, hopefully, ideally, as soon as possible. If we could run those reports for you, we would be doing it in the background, I promise you. But they'll show you how much coverage you have, right? And that's why they're called course coverage reports. So what type of assessments they are, you'll see the exact name of the assessment, and I'll stop talking and maybe show you this really quick video. How's that sound?
Hello, this is Amber Williams from the CEDL team, and I am showing you this video to run a course coverage report at the course level in Blackboard Ultra. So instead of going outside of your course and going to the tools area in the main menu, we're actually inside of a given course. So we're in this spring 2025 community dental health course. And there's a lot of different reports that can now be run at this course level, which I would very highly recommend, especially the course coverage. We're going to go to the analytics tab and area. And then there's all these different reports. You immediately see course activity for your students at the time. There are premium reports. We're going to go all the way to the right and click on course reports. And there are 2 types of reports that can be run. The first is the course coverage report. So not only is it going to show that there's goal tags in this course, it's actually going to show you exactly where they are. It's great. You know what test they're tagged in. You know, even if it's a quiz question, you know where the tags are, and it shows you that all the competencies are covered. It can also show the program outcomes in this report. It can show college-wide core abilities. You have the ability to run it at any of those levels. Then what's even more amazing, and this could be an additional follow-up after the fact, is when students actually take that given assessment, so the quiz where the tag is, you can see how they've performed on it. And you can even set the metrics. So if you want it to be an 80% or higher metric, you can actually dictate that when running this report. So very helpful data coming from Blackboard Ultra now. We're going to do the course coverage report, and I hit run report. So this is where I get to select the level of the goal set that I want to see. So I could do the overall program outcomes, and I could do the course competencies, and I could do the college-wide core abilities. All 3 are here, and it's allowing me to dictate which one I would like to pick. I'm going to go with the course competencies here at the course level, and then I'm going to click run report. So here is what we're used to seeing with our course competencies and what's covered. But then as you scroll further down, it's allowing you to see exactly where those tags are. So our very first course competency, CC1, is tagged in exam number 2 for chapters 1 through 11. Course competency number 5, here's the tag, exam number 2, so on and so forth. So this data is very helpful. And this is one of the very first reports that you would then save to this desktop, save to your computer, and then make sure it's placed within your programmatic folders for assessment day.
Production value.
Oh, I think for that pop up at the end. All right, so that's how you run a course coverage report. This is the step-by-step tutorial as well, which is also located in the assessment day module for you. So if you are a visual person that prefers those screenshots and the step-by-step, that's there for you too. I will not go through that process for you again. No, I didn't want to go that far. Okay. So we have a couple of examples as well coming up here that might not be working. Okay, so why do we do these course coverage reports? What's the relevance and the purpose to them when really they're not giving us the data on how students performed, they're just showing the map. Well, we do this to ensure that the tags are in the right place from semester to semester, especially with copying content. I do feel like this is pretty important right here. Some faculty, and I've run into this issue when working with them, have found that somewhere along the way, they weren't consistent with how they copied course content. They had a template, they had their tags in there, and somewhere along the way, they said to themselves, why am I using this template? I don't want to use the template anymore. And they started copying from live course shell to the next, from fall to spring and spring to fall, and etc. And then all of a sudden they realize that they run those course coverage reports and the tags aren't there and they no longer have any data. So it's something that you do really want to be careful of. So our recommendation is that you run these course coverage reports at the start of the semester so that you can see, yes, my tags are there. This is what I expect. As students perform these assessments, I know I'm going to be getting the data. I realize we have a very lengthy start of semester checklist, but running these course coverage reports will not impact students in any way, shape, or form.
Are we supposed to be tagging college-wide core abilities in all our courses?
Not in every single course. That's a great question. We are going to talk about like how often and when and where we should be tagging. Yes, that is coming up. So
okay, perfect.
Yes, great question. Thank you.
Way to lead us into that sooner or later here, Tracy.
So I will not be able to show these examples. Does anyone want to see an example of a course coverage report that I could run on the fly right now? Please let me know. Because I'm using a public share link right now. That's why.
Just
I feel like the video kind of showed the overall good example of the course coverage report. So I just want to make sure. Okay, so we are at the where and when. So very good segue, very good transition.
Tracy says the video was good.
The video was good. Thank you very much. You kind of broke it down, but
that's an exclamation point too. So I mean, she was very assured the video was
Thank
good.
you, Tracy. Thank you. Well, we want the full coverage of course competencies, right? And what that report showed was a set of course competencies. And if you don't have them all covered, then we have an issue, right? Because every single course competency should be tagged somewhere within your course. So where and when? Where do we put these, right? And where are the tags going to be going? That's what we're going to get into next. So we run them at the course level, going inside to the analytics tab so that we know it's in that specific course. And if you have a unique section or a unique CRN that's different, I do recommend that you run them, right? Unless you know that they're all being copied from a template. Like for speech, for example, we have so many different sections of speech. But if we know that all 10 of them got the content from the template, then yes, you could probably run it in the one live course shell, and then you'd be fine for the other sections and the other CRNs. But if it's unique, then I do recommend that you run them for each unique course that you have. Where do we put them? We place them inside of the video mentioned, the program specific folders. These are two different links for you. This one will show you our CASEL program specific folders, how they're listed out by your program, and you already have the folder open for 2026, right? So if accounting has their course coverage reports and they go inside assessment day 2026, they'll be able to look at, he has a course coverage report in there already, or Heather does, right? She ran one, she placed it in there. So that's one less thing for her to have to do on assessment day. Same thing in our module of assessment day and faculty resources. You have all the program specific folders linked and housed right here for you to quickly and easily add items into it. So if you can take care of these before assessment day, it's a huge time saver, a lot less clicks, a lot of the kind of monotonous work done ahead of time so you can really focus on what matters.
I mean, like literally if you have 7 courses and you just run those course coverage reports in December as you finish up the semester as part of a checklist that you have.
Yep.
Pop them into those folders and then you do it again in May. There's probably maybe an hour of your time on assessment day that could go to other things and
Absolutely.
allow you more opportunity to like look at the results of your assessment data and consider how you could update your courses or improve learning for your students.
And I feel like a lot of faculty run out of time for like those really good discussions and like deliverable number 4, which is that new outcome assessment plan. They just run out of time, right? Because they're so focused on doing all the other work to get into that folder that hopefully we can have time for those good discussions. So again, we recommend running them at the start of each semester, but you can do it at any time. But that way you know that the tags are there. So where and how often? This is a great question, and it's asked very often. So what do we tag first of all? There's been some lessons along the way. At first we thought tag everything, right? But now we know that we want the data to work for us. We don't want it tagged so much that it waters it down and we have no idea where students are doing well and where they aren't, right? But we don't want to only tag it once because then it's like a make it or break it. And if they do poorly on that one assessment, then your entire outcome shows a horrible result, okay? So we want a good balance. We are recommending that you tag a larger summative cumulative type assessment, right? That really truly demonstrates and measures students' true knowledge and ability to perform on that. So these would be tests or projects or a capstone, portfolio, large research paper, essay, etc., right? So we want it to be cumulative. We want them to have time to have practiced it, to have some ability to fail along the way before it truly measures at the very end. Do they know this? Do they understand this? And then how often? That was the question. How often do we tag a given outcome? It depends on the instinct of the instructor. Very rarely do I tell an instructor, no, you're wrong, because you know your courses 10 times better than I ever could, right? So if your gut and your instinct is saying that you should tag it, then you probably should be. But our recommendation is not too little and not too much, just like a good balance, basically. Ideally, every single course competency will be tagged at least twice within a given course. That kind of shows like a progression and an average between 2 different assessments. Same thing with program outcomes, but twice program wide, okay? So if a program has 8 program outcomes, there would be 16 tags minimally, but throughout its 16 courses across 4 semesters. Hopefully that made sense.
I mean,
Okay.
if you do a 3rd tag or a 4th tag, it's
Sure.
the thing is you want to be able to track those tags. And so that when you look at the data, you know where the data is being pulled from. And then if the data is not strong, well, what can I do to improve that data? If the data is good, maybe you need to move that somewhere else and pull some data for something else and try something different too.
And
So
there are
there's lots of different ways to look at that.
natural places and times that lend themselves to tagging, like higher level tags, such as like end of year 1 and end of year 2, right? Because then you're getting a really good idea of how students are doing halfway through the program versus the end of the program. I wouldn't really recommend putting a program outcome tag in a first semester course, right? Students have not had enough time to practice it. They do not know the outcome that well or that thoroughly yet. So those would be some of my recommendations. I think I saw something pop up in the chat there.
So if I have 20 test questions covering one competency, I should only be taking a few of those.
I have 20 questions covering one competency.
So typically when I look at like, if that's one test, I think this is what you're getting at. And you have 20 questions in that test tagged the same one. I consider that test, that summative, as one area of tag.
I would tag the overall test then.
I would just say the test. Well, you could take the questions, but I would just say that's one tag, that summative, even though there's
Correct.
a whole bunch underneath it. It's like learning objective versus course.
I would tag the entire test with that one competency from what it sounds like.
Which you can take the
Would that
question,
help?
but I
Yeah.
would just count that as one of my 3 or one of my 2 for the class.
Sure. I think I saw an additional.
My tests usually cover 2 to 3 competencies, so I have to do individual questions. So
Okay.
she'll have several different summative assessments in there, but I would count that as one of the 2 or 3 for the class,
I
even
agree.
though she might have 15 underneath that one.
I agree. Yep, absolutely. And then ideally, all applicable and relevant college-wide core abilities would be tagged at least twice program-wide as well. So there are 5 college-wide core abilities, so you'd have 10 tags program-wide if they all apply throughout all courses within your program, like minimally again. So did that help with the tagging of the
Yeah, that makes sense, Tracy.
when and where type thing and how often?
That she says yes, and that's something we've
Okay.
been evolving on since like even when I started 4 years ago. That's something we've been evolving on, and we learn more and more about how Blackboard works with that each year. And so, but the whole thing though is where's your data coming from? Are you able to look at that data and then make decisions on your teaching, on what you're building up to the like the summative? There's got to be build up material before you get there, the homework kind of things. The little activities. So what do you need to change those things to make the data better down the road?
And then here I'm very close to being done for any other additional questions, but we're in that assessment day module of the faculty resources, and we're in step 1 because we're talking about course coverage reports, which is the first deliverable. It's the one we get the most completion on. Honestly, pretty much all of our faculty know that we need it, that it's required as a deliverable, that we're putting it in those folders every single year. But this is more about the goal tags. So if you're not sure what to tag, right, these are questions to ask yourself when you're tagging, what a tag is, why I should do it, how to's and like how often, what we just talked about. And then this is how to actually add the tag, right? If you needed a reminder on that too.
And there's also the when you go to tag, there can be some issues if you don't have an association or an alignment of your tags of your course competencies to your course. So if you want that done, you can send a CETO support ticket, and we can actually go in there and align or connect your course competencies with your course. We'd like to do that with a template so it carries forward, but we can do it with a fall class or a spring class if you know you're going to do the tagging in there. And that just makes it easier. So you don't have to shuffle through thousands and thousands of competencies and courses.
Yeah, there are thousands of different goal tag sets in there now, especially for competencies. We've added so many into Blackboard that this would be a pop-up too, right? Like if you needed your course competencies and your program outcomes tagged in a certain course, you'd go to insert that tag and the pop-up would be just your set, right? Whatever you need would pop up right away and you'd be able to click on it and submit it and add that goal tag. So yes, if you need that filter or association, just please create a ticket with us in CETO and we can do that for you.
Yeah, we shouldn't have to do that for program outcomes. The college-wide core abilities, they just pop up there. So, we could do that for program outcomes, I guess, but.
I have, yeah, so that you can pick between the two sets. It's really nice. So again, a summary here is that course coverage reports are simply just maps at the course level of all tags within a given course, okay? Its purpose is to show how much coverage we have and the alignment, right? That we're directly measuring that specific skill for our students and their ability to perform on it. And for any further conversations, any further guidance, please reach out to us. Like that's what we're here for. We have additional resources, right? Such as our faculty resources page, create a ticket with us, reach out to us. We have a YouTube channel.